Hello and welcome. I am Raghav. Today we are going to create a very interesting mini project with Postman. So we are going to start from scratch and go up step by step, and you can follow along with me with hands-on, and whenever you have any issues, any questions, you can let me know, and you will also find a quiz that you can take at the end of this session. Okay, so let's get started and let us first see the scenario that we are going to do today. So let's imagine we have a simple user management APIs and we have to create a flow using these APIs. So the flow involves the first we will run the login API, and in the response we will get a token that we will extract and store. Then we will create a user using a create user API, which will be a post request. Here we will use the token extracted from the first API, and also in the response of this API we will get a user ID and we will extract that user ID and store it. Then we will update this particular user by using the extracted user ID. So we will refer this extracted user ID and update the user, and then finally we will delete this user. Okay, so we will run all these steps in one flow using the Postman runner or the collection runner. So this is the scenario we are going to do. So let's also see, before we go to the steps, let's see the deliverables of this project and the end result. So at the end of this project, we should be having a Postman collection with at least 4 requests. We will also be having an environment ready with the variables that we have created, and then we after we run the collection runner, we will also have a report ready. Okay, so after doing this project, you will have confidence to automate a complete flow and API flow in one go. You will know how to extract the variables or extract the values from the response, store them and use them, store them in variables and use them in any requests. And it will build a foundation for CI/CD testing, data-driven testing, and real-world scenarios that you can do with API testing. Alright, let's see step number 1. We will create a new environment. I hope you have your Postman ready. So open your Postman, and my Postman is here. And the first thing I will do is I will create a new environment. So here, I'll go here. We have environments here. And I will say, I'll click on this plus button to create a new environment. And you can call it anything. I'm going to call it, let's see, I'll just call it my new environment. Okay, and here we will be creating these 3 variables: base URL, and we will give this value token and user ID. So let's do this. I will say base URL, token and user ID. Now here, these are environment variables. If you believe any of the environment variable or any of these values that you will add are sensitive or should be masked, you can click on this mark as sensitive. So then whatever comes here and you mark it as sensitive will be masked. Okay, so you can mask it like this, and then you can see here we have share options. So unless you share, it will be local to you, and if you want to share it with your team or whoever is can see this project or collection, you can then share it. All right, and we also have these options. So I have created these 3 variables: base URL, token and user ID, and I have made token as sensitive. Okay, and before we go to the next step, let me also show you the APIs we are using here. So we are using these reqres APIs. You can go to this link reqres.in. This is the link. Okay, and here if you scroll down, you will see all these APIs, demo APIs, list user, single user. We have all these get, post, put, patch, delete APIs. You can see this login API is also here. Okay, so this is what we are going to use in our flow. So save and select the environment. Okay, so make sure that your environment is selected here. So in this top right, you should have your environment selected. Okay, now let us create a collection. and you can name it anything. I will name it user flow automation. This is the next step. So here we have collections. I am in the collections section here, and I will click on this plus button to create a new collection, a blank collection, and it is created here. I will call it as user flow automation. All right, and it's done. Okay, one more thing. See, this environment is here. I will close this from here, and now when I again select this environment drop down, you will see there is an option to pin this environment to a collection. Okay, so this is also something you can do. I will click on this, and then this will be pinned to my current collection. Also, you can see there are multiple collections here in my workspace, and this is the new collection. I want it to be at the top, so I can click on this star to make it my favorite, and it will come at the top. Okay, now let's create the first request, which is a post request where we will log in and then we will extract the token from the response. So here you can create a request by just clicking on this plus button, or you can click on this new and say HTTP, or the other way is I will say that we can click on this plus button in the collection so that the request stores directly inside this collection and we will not have to save it separately inside this collection. So I will click on this add request, and you can see the request has come here. I will call it login, and it is a post request, so I will select the method post here. All right, it is, we can call it login extract token, so you can name it anything. All right, now in the URL we will use the environment variable base URL and the rest of the endpoint. So basically the complete endpoint is https reqres.in /login /API /login, but this all we have already saved, and because this is common to all the request, this part of the endpoint, therefore we have saved it, and that is what we will use here. So to refer a variable, environment variable, we use double curly brackets, and you can see it has already showing us. So this is how we refer the variable. Also, when you hover over it, you will be able to see the value if it is referring to the if there are no mistakes. I will say API login. Okay, and see here it is highlighted in red, and it is not, when we hover it don't shows any value, and that this is because in our environment we have not yet added the value. So I'll go here and add the value of this endpoint https reqres.in. Okay, now if I go back, you can see now it is resolved. Okay, now next is we will add the body. So this is the body, and if you want you can also get it from here. So here you will see this is the request for login, and this is the body we need. Also, if you want to get the complete endpoint, you can click on this endpoint and open in a new tab, and you can see this is our complete endpoint. That is what we have added. So in our request, this part is coming from variable, which is common to all the requests, and this we have hard coded. Okay, so we can also copy the body from here, and I will go to the body tab, click on draw, and JSON is already selected here. I will paste the body and click on beautify and save it. Okay, make sure that you save your requests. All right, so this is done. We have done with these first 6 steps. Now we also have to add our test scripts in the test tab, which is called as post response tab. Now this script is to extract the token from the response and then store the token in the environment variable token. Okay, so before we do that, let us first run this request and check if we are able to get the response. So I will save and click on send, and here it is saying missing API key, and that is because now for REQ/RES websites, for REQ/RES APIs, we need a API key. So you can click on this get free API key. Okay, and then you will see this. We can copy this in our header. This is the key and this is the value. So I will copy this and click on headers where we have, yes, we have headers here. Copy this key and this value and save and run again. And yes, now we are able to get the token. All right. Now we have to add this script. So I will go to the scripts section, and we have to go to the post response. We have pre-request. These scripts run before running the request, and post response, these run after we get the response. So after we get the response, only after that we can extract the token. So therefore we will go to post response. Now here you can say this. So here we are saying pm.response.json. Okay, and then we are getting the token from this response.token and storing it in this variable. Okay, so you can say like this, or if you go to the snippets here, you can see there are some snippets that you can directly use. So response body, value check, or all this you can see. If I click here, it is giving us all these snippets. Okay, so I can get it from here. Or now we also have option to use AI. So I will go here and click on these three dots, and we have option ask AI. So if I click here, you can see this comes here, and here I can say for this request, create script in post response section to extract token from response and store it in environment variable token, and hit enter, and let's see what happens. So it will generate some scripts, and we can check if it is all working fine. Yes, we have got this. So you can check, and if you say approve, it will come here, and now you can see here it's doing the same thing. It is first getting the JSON response in this variable, and then it is checking it has the property token, and if it has, it will store this in an environment variable token. Also, if you want, we can say, we can write on the console. I will say console.log, and I will say token value is, and then I can just either say this JSON data token, or I can also get it from let me do this. I will use this, so it should have the token value. Also, I can do it another way, because now this is already stored in the environment variable token. So I can say here pm.get pm.environment.get token. So both of these should display the same value. I will save it, and now I will also go to the console. Here at the bottom we have console. Okay, so click on console, and you can clear the earlier logs, and now I will say send. So you can see it is getting the token value, extracting, and also setting it in the environment, because this one is coming from the environment. Okay, and also if you now see in the response, we also have test, because this will be considered as a test. Whatever you add in post response is considered as a test, and this is also passed. If I now check my environment and token, as of now it is not yet updated. Let me run it once again. And if I now check, and you can see the token is updated, and because it is sensitive, it is masked. Alright, so this is working fine, and the expected token stored in environment is done. Now we will create the second request where we will create a user using, and we will use this token in the authorization. Okay, so I will again go here, make sure that you save your request. I will click on this plus button to add a new request, and it is added here, and I will say this is create user, make it post, and again I will use the base URL from environment variables and then the rest of the URL. So let us see the API. So this is the one, create user, and here the endpoint is, rest of the endpoint is API users, and this is the body. So I will say here API and users, and now this is post, so we will go to the body and go to raw and add this body, beautify, and make sure that this one is JSON here, and you can also beautify it from here. And here we have added the body, we have updated our endpoint URL and body. Now we will add the header for authorization, and here we will refer the token that we extracted. Now here you can either go to headers and add a header for authorization, and then in the value you can say bearer space and refer the token, or the other way is you can directly go to authorizations tab and here select bearer token, and here you can just refer the token from the environment variable using the same syntax, that is put the variable within double curly brackets, and you can also check it is referring to the token. Alright, so this is done, and you can now save and check, run this request, and again error messaging key, we have not added our API key. So I will again go here and copy this API key and add in the headers. This is the value and this is the key. Save and run again, and yes, we are able to create the user. All right. Okay, now see, these are dummy APIs. These are demo APIs. So sometimes it may happen that it will work without the token also. So don't worry. But in real world, you will understand how do you use this in real world. So that is what we are demoing here. Okay, now in the test tab or the post response tab of this API, we have to add the script to extract the user ID from response and then store it in the user ID environment variable. So again, go to the script section and post response section, and here if you get some snippets you can use that, otherwise you can write your script, or we will do the same thing. We will go to these three dots of our API and say ask AI, and now here I will say for this request add script in post response to extract user ID. So let's see, this is the ID we are getting, so I will say ID. So I will say here extract ID from response and store it in environment variable user ID, and also print on console. Printing on console is optional, so I will hit enter, and let's see the scripts it generate, and yes, it is done. And uh, it's a long script, but that's fine. Let us check this. I will say approve, and it has come here. You can see here it is checking this. First it is checking it is a valid JSON, and Okay, and then it is checking, it should have the ID property in the response, and after that it is saying it is setting it to user ID and also running it on the printing it on the console. And this is fine. See, it is getting it from the environment. After storing it in the environment, it is getting and printing it, so we will be sure that our value is stored. Okay, also it is adding this check to expect the response status code should be either 200 or 201. Generally for creating or post request it is 201, so that's fine. I will save and now run it. It's fine. I will go to the console and check. So you can see it is saying user ID 457, which is fine. This is the one. If I go and check the environment, it is not yet updated. I will run it once again, and now you can see it is updated. This time it is 831. All right. So this is working fine. So we are done with this step and we are able to store our user ID. Now let us create the third request, which is for updating user, and here we will use the user ID extracted in the earlier step. So I will click on this plus button and I will say this is update user. So update user, I will say patch, or I can say put, because we are updating the complete resource. Okay, and for this again I will say, so the API is this one, update user. Okay, so here you can see we use the, let me go here again. So you can see in the endpoint we give a user ID. So this time we will be extracting it from the earlier request. So I will say here use the base URL and API, it is API users and the user ID. So API users and then user ID, which I will refer from the environment variables, and you can see it is referring correctly. So this is fine, and let us save this. Of course this is a put request, so we will use a body as well here, and you can copy this from here. Okay, and in the authorization, in the headers, in the authorization I can add the bearer token, and in the headers I will add this key and value for API key. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, now let us run this. So here we are using the user ID, and yes, you can see this is working fine. That means it is able to update the user. Okay, I can also update the name here. Let us see if it works fine, and yes, it is working fine. All right, so we are done this, and now we have already added the body and headers, and this is running fine. In the test tab or post response, if you want you can add some tests like checking the status code. So this time I can directly just go to the script section, post response, and I will click on snippets, and I will say status code is 200. This should be fine. Save and run, and you can see this is running fine. All right, so we are done with all these steps. Now we can also check the response contains the user details. Now next we will add a delete user API, and here also you can see this is the same URL, because here also we need the user ID. So I will create another request. I will call it delete user, make it delete request, and here we will say base URL, and this is the one we need. Okay, but make sure that this is delete. Save, and in the authorization we can add the token, and in the headers we already have this, so this is all fine. We don't need body. I think it has copied everything from the update request, so that's fine. Make sure that you save and let's run it. So for a delete, the response code is 204, which is fine because that means there is no content. If you want, you can also go to the scripts section, post response, and add a snippet to check this. I will say this status code 200, but then we can change it to 204 here. Okay, save and check, everything is running fine. All right, so we have done all this. We have already added a test, and now if you want, in the pre-request script, you can print, you can add a timestamp, and then you can also print that the run started at this time. Now why this will be useful in real world, we are this we will do in the login API, that is our first API, and we can do this because in real world when you extract the token, it is valid for some particular time of some particular session. Okay, so when you know that this is the time the token was generated, and you know it will be valid for, let's say, 2 minutes, so after 2 minutes you can again run a script which will again run the login API, get a new token, and will update the environment variable token with the latest value of the token. And that is why it is mentioned here, and that is why it will be useful in real world. Now to do this, so basically what we need is we have to extract the current time and store it in our environment variable. Okay, so you can use this script, or you can say I will go to the login API, go to the scripts and post response or pre-request section, because this is the time we need to extract just before running the request. Now here, if you find something in the snippets for time, you can check this. Otherwise, again, the best way now is I will go to the ask AI, and here I will say for this request in pre-request add script to get the current time stamp and store it in environment variable time now in the format dd YYYY hours, minutes and seconds. Okay, so hit enter and let's see if we get the script. We will run and check it, and we can also print it on the console just to check. Okay, so this is what we have got. Let us check this. So here it is first getting the current time and then formatting it, and then it is storing it in the environment variable time now, and it is also printing it on the console. So that is fine. This is what we needed. Let us check this. I will go to the console, clear the earlier logs, and make sure that you save and run this. So yes, you can see it is storing the time, pre-request time now. This is the date and time, which is fine. And I will run it again and now check the environment variable. So we should have, yes, it is storing it here in a variable called time now. Okay, so this is also done. So all this is done. Now we will go to the collection runner. So here I will go to my collection, and here you can click on this run button to go to collection runner, or you can go to your collection and these three dots and click on here run. This will also open the collection runner. So make sure that all your APIs are saved. This is very important. This is a very common mistake that some APIs are not saved, and then you will see some issues in the runner. So click on the go to collection runner, and here you can see all your requests. You can also check or uncheck, and also you can change the sequence by dragging dropping these APIs. And then here we have functional run or performance run. We need functional here, and here we have option to run manually, or you can schedule, or you can also automate run via CLI. As of now we want to run manually, and the configuration we just a single iteration or a single loop, and as of now we are not using any data file, so this is all fine. So we have done this. Also make sure that your environment is selected from here. Okay, if you have not pinned this environment to the collection, make sure it is selected. In case you find any option to select environment here, you can also do that, but as of now this is fine. And let us run and observe this. So click on run and let's see. Okay, so this is run and everything looks okay. You can see all test passed, failed, skipped. Okay, and here is the overview. This is the environment used, iteration, duration, and you can also check the summary here. So all this is passed. Okay, and then you can also check all this. So now here you can see, you will see this option to export the results. So you can export the results, or you can also share this with using this link. Okay, you can see view all runs and you will see all your runs here. Okay, we are seeing the functional runs here. Again, you can view the report, or you can share this collection run. Okay, so this is running fine. So we have got the token sorted, user created, user fetched or updated, user deleted, all tests run automatically now, and everything is fine. Okay, so all this is done and all tests are passed. Okay, now some common mistakes or tips. So make sure that you select the environment before running, and now we also have option to pin the environment to the collection as we have seen earlier. So make sure that you do that. Don't hardcode token or user ID, otherwise you will not be able to run it in a flow and in an automated way. And we can always use console and print values and use it for debugging as we have seen. And make sure that you save your requests before running the collection. And also the sequence is important in this case. So make sure that you run login first, which will generate the token, and then use the token in the next requests. Okay, so we have done this. We have got our collection with 4 requests. We have got our environment. You can also, if you want, you can share this environment. So you can see this environment is here. If you want, you can share it, or you can also get a JSON file from it, or you can share it online. Okay, and we have already seen the variables are there, and this will now you also have the collection runner with the reports, and this will create your foundation for real world Postman projects. Okay, and you will find a link for a quiz in the description of this video. Please take the quiz and let me know your score in the comments. I hope this all was very useful. If you have any questions, you can let me know. I will see you soon. Thank you for watching, and never stop learning.